I want to chop something.
All right, well, you might get your chance. Who would like to recap the last session for inspiration?
Taylor.
I might be able to.
In the form of a song.
So we played other characters.
In the form of freestyle rap, please.
That's not gonna. Oh God! Stop! Divorce. We need the ring.
No, it was a gift. You're fine now. And we got into this big battle in the middle of the forest, and this wizard-like guy was kind of like in charge of this battle, and then this band of people came up, the hobnobbers,
Throwing confetti everywhere.
and we learned that this wizard is Grim Evanwood, the one she has been searching for, and we battled with him, and we got him this close to death, and then boom, he disappeared. Boom, boom, boom. That's all I remember.
Didn't someone else's eyes glow right after? Maybe that was a fever dream I had.
Did it what?
No, I don't think anybody's eyes started glowing.
It's a good thing I stopped drinking.
Okay, so yeah, Michelle, you can take your inspiration. So you all started the session meeting with Miranda and telling her what happened at Pine Spire Keep. She gave you the option to either stay in town and see if you could root out what's going on in the criminal underbelly for clues, or you could go and meet Warfather Valkun and his retinue and help escort them to the city. You decided to go with the latter, and after a brief break, we came back and you all played as the orcs in his retinue.
Which was fun.
And you were ambushed by Sethus and his men and Grim Evanwood.
Punk ass bitch.
So,
I'm a half-orc, you racist fuck.
So, following all of that, the battle has just concluded. Burgok Skullsplitter, who has the giant axe, he's standing next to Jinkat. They were both fighting Sethus, and he just starts laughing. And he just goes, "A good kill, little one!" And he claps you on the shoulder.
Oh no.
Jinkat starts trying to have an even boomier laugh to just try to compensate for his apparently small size.
Compared to Burgok, even the other orcs, except for Warfather Valkun, are smaller. You, as a half-orc, you are not as big as the full-blooded orcs. So, yeah, you can't tell if it's specifically directed at you or if he just says that to everyone who's smaller than him.
Right.
But yeah, he claps you on the back for beheading Sethus, and as he's doing that, Grogmar starts walking by. He's keeping an eye on all of you, just warily. He's not hostile, but he's definitely keeping an eye on you, and he tosses the head to you as if it were a trophy.
I kind of catch like I don't know what to do with this, but it seems important. Thank you.
Ooh, there it is.
Spicy.
He just kind of
not knowing what to do. I tie the head by the hair around my belt and just sort of walk around with it bobbing there. I sort of give my friends like I don't know what to do.
She kind of looks at it. She doesn't say anything, but she's just kind of like.
You see the help me eyes look. I'm like, what? I need help reacting to something. I don't.
Yeah.
So the orcs start kind of doing, the post-battle cleanup. Sharog Eagle Eye is recovering some of her arrows, and Cat starts chewing on one of the bodies. Dura Godspear and Grogmar, they kind of find a place to sit near the Warfather where they can keep an eye on all of you as they start cleaning their weapons, just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. Wurgoth Bloodrender, he is not cleaning his weapons. He's keeping them by his side. They're not up and ready, but he's still got them drawn, and he's keeping an eye on all of you as he moves to be close to Warfather Valkun to protect him. The one surviving just regular orc goes to stand guard over the archers you took prisoner and helps with tying up their wrists and tying them to each other with rope. Rogmesh Death Speaker is kneeling where Grim disappeared. Her eyes are closed and she's got her hand kind of outstretched over the space where he was standing, like she's just trying to figure out what happened.
I'm heading straight there, helping her and convert. I introduce myself. I'm Vedros.
She doesn't respond.
Yeah.
She's got her eyes closed and she's waving her hand through the space. She is either just very focused on what she's doing or she just doesn't care.
Yeah. I'm gonna flip through my magical notes and basically try to do the same thing she is. Figure out what the hell.
Okay. I'll say I will let you make an Arcana check with advantage because she is also looking at this.
Winter was literally just like staring at the spot on the ground where Grim disappeared from.
It's a 10.
10. You're pretty sure that he teleported.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll tell her that
Before we get there, though, as you're approaching and as the rest of you are doing whatever it is that you're doing, thank you, dear.
Oh, here. You can stand here if you want.
I'll sit here. So as you approach and as everyone else is kind of doing their thing, the Warfather, for a brief moment, he kind of looks down at his hands and at where Grim had been standing. He kind of shakes his head and then he turns to look at each of you in turn and is just kind of silently watching and waiting to see your intentions and see if you guys are a threat.
Did Miranda? I'm trying to remember what our conversations were like. Would she want him to know that she sent us?
She told him that you all were coming to assist in the escort.
And what's his name? Valcool?
Valcoon.
Valcoon.
Warfather Valcoon.
Do I have any knowledge of proper custom when greeting an Orcish Warfather?
Roll me history with disadvantage, and you can roll me just a straight history.
She's kind of catatonic looking at the spot where Grim is, so I'm over with her trying to jog her out of it.
Okay.
It's a 16.
14.
14? Okay. You don't necessarily know, like, if there's a specific greeting or anything like that, but you do know that with orcs, there's a lot of, like, honor, like, they follow, like, an honor code, and there's a lot of showing deference or showing, not submission, but similar.
Yeah. Well, then I'll bow my head as graciously as possible and say, Warfather Valcoon, my name is Vedros. My companions and I were sent here by the royal family to ensure that these fools were dispatched.
Can I be by his side?
Yeah, you can be walking up as he's doing this.
And was said to ensure your safety. And then I realized he would want to believe he could take care of himself.
You can almost sense a bristling as you say it, but then he quickly regains his composure, and you can only really see it because you're like right up there with him. And then he says, truthfully, we are thankful for the assist. This battle was not going in our favor, it seemed, and we appreciate the Crown's foresight in this matter.
They value your friendship.
Jinkat would chime in and say, so there were several allied deaths in the battle, right? several.
There were two unnamed orcs that fell in the battle.
Okay. Jinkat would say, we see two of your friends unfortunately fell in this battle. I would like to offer my services to help offer them a proper warrior's burial or death rite.
At that, Rogmesh, who was silent when interacting with Verdros, she doesn't open her eyes. She just says, "That will be unnecessary. I will see to their final rites."
Fair enough. Just let us know if you need anything.
Okay, so
I don't want
once you're
to
standing
train on this conversation.
catatonically staring at the spot where Grim was, Rogar, you went up to her.
Yeah, no.
What are you doing to comfort her or to?
I'm sorry, little woman. I was hoping that we could keep him here to at least answer more questions and keep him here, but I'm sorry that he got away.
I can't remember if my hunter's mark was up. I'm assuming it was.
I think it was. We can say it was.
I can't remember. I could have sworn there used to be like a part of hunter's mark where you can like track
sense.
them magically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or did that change with the new?
No, Hunter's Mark basically gives you advantage to track them.
Okay. Would I be able to use that to figure out kind of maybe where he went, or is it more just to track, not if somebody like?
It's not like a homing in your
Disagrees.
head. It's not like what Grezifer had as a revenant. It's not like
Oh my god.
you have this beacon in your head.
Yeah.
You can
If
go
a
up and
survival check wouldn't be able to find him.
probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go and take a look at the spot where he vanished and see if you can discern anything, but it's not likely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm standing there. I might as well see if there's anything that I can tell.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and give me a survival check
Hold on, I gotta figure out.
or investigation, whichever you choose.
Let me see. Investigation or
Survivor.
survival. Investigation. That was plus 8.
I think that was his.
It's a nat 20.
Nat 20. Wow.
I mean, that's okay.
Plus 8.
So, because you have such a strong connection to this individual, the magic of your hunter's mark, it coalesces on him more solidly than you would expect for most enemies. And you get a sense he definitely teleported out, and wherever he teleported to, he's probably going to be coming back. It's probably you get the sense that it's probably not far from the city.
Where were we in relation to the city? Didn't we ride?
You were to the
Halfway.
northeast,
Ooh.
How far?
about a day and a half.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. But the way you said like he's coming back to the city is like, so he's gonna come at us in the city. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
my confusion.
Changes what I was going to do.
Good.
yeah,
React
you
to
get
the
the
circumstances.
you knowing this individual, you get the feeling that he's not the type to just turn tail and run and leave sleeping dogs lie. Whatever he was doing here, he's not done.
Hey. Hello.
Have you gained
You with
any
me?
insights that you would like to share with us?
What do you know, littler one?
Oh God.
She looks up at you and like her face says, "Don't fuck with me right now."
The gnome is angry.
Gnome.
Gnome.
Angry gnome.
seeing him again very soon.
Where?
He is not finished with what he's planning, and we will be seeing him in the city before all of this meet is over.
So we need to get back to the
I
city.
suggest we come up with a plan so we don't lose him again.
You're still sober, right?
Yes.
What an
Just wanna make sure we
undercutting
establish
question in that moment.
I would say let's go. Let's all return to the city and discuss what we know on the way and devise a plan as we travel.
War Father, would you permit us to join you the rest of the way to the city, to Graves Keep?
Very well.
Thank
we
you.
need to take care of these bodies first. And at that, the head takers kind of, and the one remaining orc stays with the prisoners to keep an eye on them. But the head takers and Warfather Valkun himself go and they go to the bodies of the fallen orcs, and they pick them up and carry them off of the road and find some place on one of the rises where they set the bodies down, and then they go to gather as much wood as they can find, and they build a funeral pyre for these orc bodies. They kind of glance over the other fighters, the other individuals that passed away, but they're really just looking at their weapons and their armor and decide that none of it's really worth taking for them, and they just kind of leave the other bodies laying in the road.
Grim was the only caster there, right?
As far as you know, yeah.
I suggest. Oh shit! I had a thought. One, I would help. They probably would need our help. Oh, hey, who's hurt?
Oh, that's a good question.
Several of the head takers look pretty badly hurt.
I was gonna say, I think
but
our
they're
was
all-
pretty ouchy.
But they're all also, like, at this point, they're doing their best not to show how hurt they are, and they're standing, but they've all got some bloody gashes and such. Except for Warfather Valkun, he's got like barely a scratch on him,
Yeah.
with the exception of one arrow that's still sticking out of his shoulder. That as he goes to like lift one of the orcs, his shoulder kind of catches, and he looks and just yanks it out.
I go up to.
Go ahead. You're half orc.
I go up to one of the orcs. So can I tell that they're hurt, but also trying to look like they're not hurt?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a cultural thing that they don't show weaknesses much as they possibly can,
So,
especially around outsiders.
I would say this before you do whatever you're going to do. Is anyone here hurt? And can I take care of them?
Johanna's good.
My last
I look
character
around
was
and
really
everybody's
hurt,
okay.
but I'm not.
Okay, because I was going to see if any of us needed help, so you can then be like, "We can help you," and then hand to me and be like,
So I go up to one of the orcs that's looking hurt, but doing his best to not show it. And I kind of put on a facade, and I say, "Ha! Got a little dirt, and I'm assuming that someone else's blood on you." And I kind of start to, I go to like look like I'm whacking dirt off of him, but I'm dumping lay on hands into him to kind of help heal it while helping him save space.
Roll a
That's a-
persuasion
That's
check to
sneaky.
see if they allow you to even touch them.
I don't even remember what you asked me to roll, but it was a
Persuasion
3, so I'm guessing it's a no.
So as you start to reach out, which one do you go up to?
The closest
The
one.
one on the right.
No, the one on the left.
"The correct one."
Okay, we'll say you go up
Friendliest
to.
looking.
My goal is to go for the one that looked the most hurt, but also like the one that looked like he was struggling the most to keep up a facade of "I'm fine, it's just a scratch, I'm not crying."
I mean, none of them are like at that point. Like they're all hurt, but none of them are acknowledging it. None of them like they're all kind of if they've got a limp, they're like they're not mentioning it and they're just powering through. You know, that kind of thing. So none of them are like on death's door. Let's say that you go up to Burgok.
I was just gonna say.
So as you approach and start to put your hand out and start saying those things, he kind of pulls back and he looks at you and says, "Back up."
It's cool. It's cool. Just wanted to help you get a little bit of that grime off here. Kicking ass is dirty work. I understand that. No need to.
It's decoration. And he goes back to helping move the old body.
Burgok, it's not your fault.
He just kind of shakes his head and continues with his work.
Burgok, it's not your fault.
By the way, I sent Saul.
Okay.
I'm not near him.
To quote Shrek, "You're going the right way for a smack bottom."
Don't tempt me with a good time, Burgok.
Have you watched Shrek recently?
A lot.
Did we leave? Did you say we left some of Sethis' people alive?
Yeah,
No,
some of the
okay.
archers were starting to flee, but were rounded up and have surrendered.
I just assume you're waterboarding them right now.
Well, as someone who's not very persuasive, let's go interrogate Sethis' men. We need to know everything we can about what they were planning and how this involves them so that we can come up with a plan, probably a trap, to both make sure that these peace talks continue, but more importantly, to fucking nail this bitch.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sticking with her for a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm with her
I'm coming
asking
with
questions.
you.
Okay.
I could.
All right, so you three go to interrogate the prisoners. Is anyone going to do anything about the other bodies that are just laying across the road?
The bad guy dead bodies.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you oppose Gray's Keep. Or
Spit on one?
I was kind of
Assignments
waiting to
of
see what we
triggers.
were doing for the day. Like if we're like what time is it?
It's like early afternoon.
Oh
I don't
fuck.
know, I figured we'd do crumpets later. And
A little bit of tea. Yeah, good point. Well, I eventually would want to pull them off to the side of the road and give them a burial or I don't know,
When-
fuck a burial. I would pull them off to the side of the road at least to not inconvenience everyone else.
Yeah, because they're literally
Maybe
blocking the road. At this
maybe
point.
light them on fire, but like my concern is her. So eventually I would do that
Okay.
if
When I see they're going that way, can I rip the arms off of one of the dead bodies and just sort of go stand next to the prisoners?
Roll me a strength check.
what am I not getting here?
21.
Are you just gonna try to intimidate
Intimidate them
by
with a hand.
I'm gonna hit them with the arm of their buddy if they
21?
don't.
Yeah, I'll say with a 21, you can go up to one of the dead bodies that doesn't have like armor over his shoulder and everything.
I'm just imagining looking over and there's Jin Cat just with his foot on the torso and his hands on an arm.
The trick is to twist it a little bit as you yank.
don't desecrate the dead.
That's not a pencil.
They're dead, leave them be.
Are you next
The
to
eraser
me?
doesn't really work, but
That's fine.
If I turned around and
Tap
saw
that,
you
get
trying to
more
rip
load.
an arm off, I would.
tap it right there.
Yeah.
More load.
We have a greater good to accomplish right now.
I think I understand where you're getting at. We need the arm.
At this point, it's too late. He's already gone up. He's done exactly what he was saying.
At this point,
Grabbed
it's
it,
wasting good meat.
Oh God.
and this
The paladin
what?
of justice rips
This-
off the arm of the undead.
well, he's not undead. He's
Of
just
the
dead.
dead, yeah.
You
The
didn't feel it. I made sure to cut his head off first.
it's not Sethis. It's
We have very early stages anesthesia right now, okay?
So the body that you chose, it already had a gash pretty much right here. So you put your foot basically on the chest and you pull and it tears out. And then you bring that over to where the prisoners are?
Yes, and I'm letting her do the talking for now. I'm just sort of standing behind her. Basically, the picture of Jim Cat with the axe over her shoulder, right now it's an arm over her shoulder.
Okay.
This is a terrible idea.
All right, so what do you say to the prisoners to try to interrogate them?
Well, I'm not going to say anything at first. I'm just going to kind of pull out my dagger and kind of like twiddle it in my hands. I'm going to just kind of look at them, try to figure out which one looks the most scared.
Okay.
Does the trope of good cop, bad cop exist? Good guard, bad guard?
I mean, the trope exists in a meta sense.
I'm a much better bad cop.
I
Somebody
would-
else be the good
I'm
cop.
thinking good cop.
I already have an arm, so I don't know where I fall.
You're on the bad cop side.
Good
I would-
cop.
I would ask how
So
they got,
we need
how
to
they got
doubles up now because we
How
got
did
two
you all
bad
get-
cops.
drawn into this situation.
Anyway, I'll let. I mean, I'll
The one that you're talking to just kind of spits in your face.
I take my dagger
Or
and
Glover.
I stab him in the knee with it.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
And
Ah!
then I
Well-
pull it back out.
Well, geez, that must have hurt. I'm sorry. Let me ask
Oh, no,
again.
I'm blind.
What
Oh no! I slept
were you
with my-
trying to do here?
Kill some fucking greenskins.
I,
What's it to you?
I smack him across the face with his buddy's hand.
Okay?
I don't know. I feel like my friend just challenged you to a duel, but that wasn't his hand, was it?
Or a glove.
It could be a glove with a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Fuck do you care?
Well, you see.
Overgrown lizard.
Oh,
I,
thank you for noticing.
how
And
many prisoners are there?
I think,
Oh no!
I
Give me
want
a
to
head
say, I think there were 3.
Take
You only
my
need
dagger
2.
and I slice it across his throat.
Whoa!
and blood just splatters all over me.
Mike knew that one was coming. But
Okay.
Alright, so
That's
He
what happens
kinda-
when you're a good cop.
His blood is gushing.
I say to that one. I say, "Shut up!" and I push him to the side, and I turn. Do you want to answer the question to the next
he
one?
twitches a few times, and yeah, I'm gonna.
He did.
at
Okay, yeah. So the one you turn to says, "We're just following orders." It was set this plan. Yeah.
Was there a part 2 to the plan, or was part 2 you die?
I don't know. I just. I'm just a soldier, man.
Who is the wizard?
I think Sethis called him Grim.
I'm gonna move in and sort of just give you guys the. Give me a second. Thing. And I'm gonna kneel down.
Roll me a perception check.
To know whether or not there's ground to kneel on. Oh no, a hole!
10.
10. You don't notice until you put your knee in it. There is a puddle spreading from
Oh.
from
that's
this
fine.
individual.
Yeah, that's fine. And I look down. My
Sorry.
friend, you see what is happening here. And I see that you fear for your life.
Fucking yeah.
Yes. Rest assured that the only way that you will make it out of this with some semblance of life is to answer every question to the absolute best of your ability. Remember every detail, particularly of this wizard.
I mean, he's a creepy motherfucker. Like,
I do my little Eldritch Blast charge thing in my hand and hold it in front of him. Yes.
I put his
I am
friend's
sure
hand
he
into a middle
is.
finger position.
listen, he didn't tell us much. Well, all I know is these orcs, man. We can't stop the war. Like, they're fucking savages.
Language.
At best, it's just gonna set us up for more losses of civilian life. I just want to protect my family, you know? And Sethis didn't tell us the plan. All he said is that we're gonna ambush these guys, we're gonna kill some orcs. It's gonna help prevent these bullshit peace talks from happening. That's all I know. This is the first I've even seen Grim. He's mentioned him a couple times. He creeped me the fuck out.
I'm wiping.
I'm gonna stand and just sort of walk back and just.
I'm gonna wipe
Does
the
the other
blood
one
off of my face and turn to him and be like, and say, "Where are you from? Where are you from?"
Tranche.
You've been to
All right.
Tranche.
Yeah. What was in Tranche?
Is it the tree where we found the book? No.
No, Tranche was the city.
With Ghost Castle? Obi?
Yeah, well, that had
Was
the,
Tranche where
the
Johann?
no, that was before. That was I don't remember.
W something? Does it start with a W?
What?
The
Was
courtyard
Tranche
with the
where
tree
Johanna met her
where
old neighbor?
No, that was the
No, you
that
meant
was a
Grace Keep.
village
Grace Keep, that's
before
right.
you got to Tranche.
Okay. Yeah.
Is Tranche where the library was? Is that where?
No, that's Grace Keep.
Tranche is the city that we hung out at with the Halloween festival.
Yes.
At,
And you
that
stayed
where we
the
were
night
fighting
in
the
the
Obi.
creepy house.
Yeah, where you got
and
rolled up
were
in the
harassed by the
carpet.
pony.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's from Tranche, which is south.
Yeah.
So, which is south. And then I guess my follow-up to him would be, what do you have to fear from the orcs? Under the assumption that I understand that the orcs are to the north, right?
Yeah.
Because if the orcs are to the north and they're coming down, my next question would be like, where does your hatred of the orcs come from the city so far to the south?
Listen, man, like these orcs, they're savages. They're not good people. They're rapists. They're pillagers. They're violent. Just because my family lives in the south doesn't mean that they're safe. If they come in through the north, that's just the start.
The secret ingredient is racism.
What else have
I
you
want to
done
speak up
with?
about the savage's comment, but I do have his buddy's arm in my
What did you
hand.
say?
I was going to ask what. So you're from Tranche and don't you talk that way about it. What's his name? Sethis. Sorry. So you're from Tranche and you just
Charming
decide
personality.
one day to go and leave and join Sethis' defense of the land.
Yeah. They called the ceasefire and it was bullshit. I got mad. So I heard that there was this group that was organizing to fight off the orcs, and fuck yeah, sign me up.
Where else did he take you?
We were in this abandoned keep, Pine something, I think they called it. That's where we were basing our operations out of until, about, I don't know, half a week ago.
Where do you base them now?
What happened half a week ago?
We left. We rode north
Okay.
to get ready for this ambush that you
And
fuckers
you just
ruined.
And you fucking blindly
You're
followed.
getting brave again.
So
Listen, man, I know who I
I just
am.
kind of like flourish my knife a little bit, kind of in my hands, and look him down. Just kind of remind him what happened to his funny friend.
He kind of looks down at the ground, but like you can tell that he still believes the things that he's saying, but he also is very much aware of the situation he's in, and he's like, he's realizing that he's not quite as brave as he thought he was, but he still believes all the
gave
things
that
that he's saying.
Yeah. Mainly, I just wanted to figure out. My line of questioning is more to try and figure out where he came from, how they recruit people, where have they been already, to see if any of that course with what we have done already.
So
that's my line of
How did he get
questioning of
radicalized?
how did you get here? Where have you been?
Okay,
did you know anything?
So along that line of questioning, basically, he was grumbling about the recent news and talking about how it's bullshit that this tree's happening while he was getting drunk at a bar in Tranche, and one of the guys, there was a guy that overheard him and just started saying, "Yeah, man, these orcs, they're gonna come in, they're gonna they're gonna rape our women, they're gonna steal our
Have you tried building a wall?
crops and materials."
That's gross.
And basically that guy introduced him to the rest
I'm
of
trying
the
to think
group.
of the
Oh, yeah.
quote.
Are we?
Cool.
Oh, we are live.
Yeah.
The opposite.
Michelle, I can't
No,
believe you said that.
there are definite parallels here
Yeah.
that I'm aware of.
So they're based out of. All right. Cool. Well, at least you have died for your cause, and then I kind of
What?
get up and walk away.
I
be
answered
honest.
your questions.
I just kind of like.
We're like, damn,
Yes.
Are like, you gonna do something about that?
I'm like, me waving 3 arms like Rogar. That's pretty fucked up.
So I turn around and I say, well, do you have anything else? Do you have any other information that would be useful?
I would like to kind of really look at the two of them and see if they look like maybe they haven't told us everything.
Yeah, I want to turn to the other guy and say, can you do any better than that?
Ooh, okay.
The one remaining guy, he has just been staring daggers at you this whole time.
Oh, we have daggers too.
He's
They
just
hurt more.
He's just staring at you, and when you address him, when you address him, he doesn't say anything. He just stares.
Okay, so you're not going to be helpful. So I cut his head off.
Oh, wow.
Whoa!
Jesus Christ!
Wow!
This is.
He doesn't stop staring, and as his head cuts off, the eyes just keep.
I'm so phased.
We got rid of
The other.
How about this? So to the guy, in theory, after seeing his broski head chopped off, if after that I would be like, well, it seems like your friends are dwindling here. We'll see how you feel in the morning, maybe, and whether or not you would like to correct some of the things.
Just kill me now.
The poor guy's like, I wish the DM had more notes right now for me.
Just kill me now. You're gonna kill me anyway, right?
No.
What you did to my buddies.
They didn't help
Does he
us.
does he have any wounds?
You just said I was a dead man anyway. He's got like a glancing cut on his arm, and I think he's missing a tooth.
Okay.
I can replace the arm.
What I would like to do, he's tied up with his hands behind his back, right?
Right.
Okay. So what I would like to do is touch his arm and heal him a little bit, and essentially say, I understand why you're angry. I understand the concerns and what you believe.
This did get darker.
It is not what I believe.
This did get darker.
And
Fuck
there
do
is a
you care?
way that
Fuck do you care? This isn't even your country.
Hey, watch your mouth.
This land is your land.
Watch your
This
mouth.
land is my
He's on
land.
his knees. I'm 3 feet tall.
I have.
Watch your mouth.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I said, I would say to him and say, yes, I have no country, so I can do essentially as I please. So there is a way that you do make this out alive, so you can go and see your family in Tranche, or you can die here, and we can let the orcs have at you. Now, honestly, I understand. I don't agree, but I understand. So, take the night, think it over. We'll talk tomorrow morning.
Mucho, no.
We're walking back today as soon as the bodies are done, right?
Yeah, so you'll be marching
Sorry,
up along with you.
I keep thinking that it's later in the day.
Yeah.
But
Miranda will want.
We can march
Yes.
him. Yeah, we'll march him with us.
yeah, my point is to keep him alive for.
At this point, he's pretty much just shut down. Like,
Yeah.
the shock of the situation, the fear that he's in, the lack of hope he has after seeing you kill 2 of his buddies in cold blood right in front of his face. Like,
Yeah. What?
he's shut down.
Technically,
Who are we
Beargus was
again?
the only one in
Right.
their blood.
Okay, but like, think about
No,
it.
I was in the
No, he was in their pee.
Oh, that's what it was.
The blood splattered on
prestidigitation, by
me.
the way.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, I
Once you and I are clean.
healed him to.
I don't know, I probably did some broken.
No, there's
I
definitely.
healed him to try and.
Prestidigitation.
Do that.
Prestidigitation. You will no longer remember your attempt to come on to me.
Hey!
What?
He's gonna wipe that on his face.
You can get,
Unprestidigitation.
you can get more right there. His buddy's still bleeding.
Yeah,
Okay, walk
so
behind him and knock him in the shoulder to sleep Paul's face first.
so he's just, you know, you're gonna basically be hurting him as you walk, but he's not putting up a fight at this point,
Right.
and you're not
Okay.
really getting anything else out of him.
I kind of figured.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I could have asked him. So, what I would like is for when I walked away to look at the orc guard to make sure that the orc guard has him. And then I would like for all of us to walk away so then we can discuss everything that he just said, like aside as a group.
Yeah, the orc's gonna stand guard over him, not let him get away.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to make eye contact with Orc and be like, hello, good day, he's yours.
He just kind of.
Beargus is gonna talk with us like we made the substitute teacher mad.
So, when we walk away,
What are your guys' alignments, by the way?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I
that
was
got-
in the corner
that got-
like this got real dark
this
real
got
fast.
real dark.
Chaotic something.
Neutral.
I think it's chaotic.
Chaotic neutral.
You're both chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Okay, you're leaning towards going evil.
Okay.
We're trying to stop a war
But-
here.
but
You also killed 2
situationally-
tied up prisoners and.
We thought we could get more out of that guy.
Situationally, I wanted all the information I could get.
I'm not
and
saying that you've shifted to evil, but you're leaning that way. Just letting you know.
Yeah. I mean,
In my defense of my character, because I didn't
Not
particularly
you.
like, but like, I didn't. Well, I kind of I'm looking for guidance because my head went. He's wise enough to know that
I
at
was
this
backing
point,
your play.
shit happens. There's nothing you can do, so move on.
I told him at
with
the
it.
beginning, you seem
Right.
mad, and we should
So-
follow your plan.
I hope I was okay.
Rogar.
Yeah,
Because
I would say Rogar was fine.
okay.
Yeah,
Because
the
it-
one.
It
No
crossed
change
my
for
it crossed my mind that I bluffed, and I bluffed evilly hard. I was like, there was a big bird.
Yeah, bluffing is
But
wrong.
with the 2 of them, and with killing 2 others, like you didn't even need a check. He was intimidated as fuck.
Yeah.
I only killed one.
Same. And I ripped the arm off another guy.
Yeah.
I was going to use suggestion if I needed to. But
Yeah.
That's why I got in the
So
guy's
it-
face.
What
But
did you say?
I was going to use suggestion on the guy. That's why I got in his
Ooh,
face.
that
in
would've
case I
been
needed
good,
to.
too.
That wouldn't have
But
been as
I
cathartic
didn't
to
think
me.
he knew anything extra, so
Well, we took a shot.
we
That
did.
would not have been as cathartic. for
Some
me.
of us harder than others.
So
I will say, as you
I
guys
just
walk
took
away,
it.
like he's looking at the ground, he kind of glances up and he sees Seth's head hanging off of your belt, and he just kind of.
Gross.
Oh, yeah.
Not savage at all.
so
I'm collecting all the parts. Be the first on your block to collect all 5 body parts.
That's
The
actually
worst
getting
Voltron
into
ever.
age.
You're not
I'm
assembling.
Miss Exodia!
The unstoppable Exodia.
All right.
No,
Yeah, but it's a
because it's so rare.
Okay,
No,
so what do you guys talk about
figure
as you
out
walk
this
away?
fucking Stupid game.
Actually, before we get to that, Johanna, what have you been doing this whole time?
So I think
Drugs.
Johanna.
Abject horror.
Yeah, kind of like she's like, what the heck just happened, and then probably like I feel like she would have watched and just been like, I'm not getting in the middle of this right now. And then probably helping, like, put the bodies on the pyre and, like, because I feel like as a soldier, she would know how to, like, clean up battlefield
Okay, so
kind of
you're
stuff.
working on
Yeah,
taking care
helping.
of the bodies that were left by the orc.
She's suddenly pulling away the dead friends that we were killing. Just like, oh, another mess got made. Whoops.
Okay, so you're doing battlefield cleanup. Are you like looking through the belongings of these bodies, or are you just dragging them?
If they look just like foot soldiers, probably just dragging them. But
Yeah,
if there's
they
anybody
pretty
that
much just look
looks
like
a
that.
little bit higher up, she might like ruffle through a few pockets just to see if anybody's got any like arrows or crossbow bolts or.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few archers' bodies that definitely would have arrows. Sethus had a hand crossbow on him, and he's got some crossbow bolts.
Are they heavy crossbow bolts or regular?
Regular.
Crossbow?
And
Do one of you also have a crossbow right now?
I have a quick bow. I
Shit.
think it uses regular
Gander
arrows.
uses a crossbow.
It does.
Yep, nope, that won't help anybody then. Yeah,
Okay.
so just.
The only one that looks like they might have had something other than just standard soldier's kit would probably be Sethus's body. So if you rifle through there, you'll find some loose like papers. It looks like a drawing of this location with a plan of attack.
Yeah, I want
drawn
to look
up.
through his
Wait, is
stuff.
Seth
Like,
the
does he
one
have
that
any
I
other
can't
notes
think
from
about?
like
No.
Grim
Think about
or
what?
like any other plans outside of the
About
ambush that could
searching
potentially
Sethus's
lead us to the
body?
next
For plans.
their
Yeah.
next
So
step?
so you find a few pieces of paper. One of them is, like I said, the drawing of where you are now.
That's
With
just
a plan of attack
backing one
drawn
shoe
up.
up.
You find another piece of paper that it's
Yeah, caught
it's
up in
written
the moment.
in common, but it's gibberish. It's probably some kind of
Like cipher.
cipher or code. But
Have you?
Well, this is garbage.
Michelle, have you whacked the table
and
or
then
something
you
with the
do
ring
find
that you weren't?
on another piece of paper. It
Had
looks
it for
like
24
he
hours.
started to
That's fair.
write a letter to someone named Victoria.
Okay.
And there isn't anything of tactical note in there.
You love to wear it at work.
He didn't get very far writing it. It looks like he got interrupted when he was starting to write it. And
Yeah.
you get the
Bernie
sense that
had to wear
this
a silicone
is
ring.
either some kind of lover, whether his wife or just someone that he was seeing, or yeah, you can't glean much from it.
Okay. So probably going to tuck the name away just in case, but leave the note. Yeah, I guess if there's really not anything else there, I probably won't take any of it with me.
Okay.
Yep. And I guess she's not really like talking with any of the orcs because she's pretty quiet anyway, but like if one of them were to like ask for help or she were to ask for help moving something, I feel like she would do that.
Okay. Yeah, they're pretty much like they're not bothering with the other dead bodies. They're only worried about their fallen brethren and setting up a funeral pyre. As they put the bodies on the pyre, Death Speaker Rogmesh starts, chanting and going through some kind of ritual before they actually light the fire. And as the flames start to consume the bodies and the smoke rises high, all of the orcs kind of raise their weapons in the air and just shout.
So in light of that, I feel like Johanna probably wouldn't have put the other bodies onto their funeral pyre just as like
Oh.
a respect kind of thing.
Oh
like,
yeah, I figured you probably
pull them
would have
off to
pulled
their
them
own
off.
pile kind of situation. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is Alyssa doing like this whole time?
I would say probably just kind of observing, keeping an eye on this one.
Okay.
She probably should have stepped in a little bit,
With
but
my
also knows how important
10.
this moment really is for her. So probably just keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, you
On the
do.
issue.
Okay. All right. And then you guys, what do you
Respectable.
talk about once you walk away from this mortified prisoner?
Well, I would want to make sure that everybody is together.
Yeah.
So,
So I think
like-
we've Johanna's come back from Bobby cleanup, and
I wasn't very far.
Yeah,
I was
she,
just under a tree getting some shade.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna pretend.
by the
none of
way,
this is happening right
Saul
now.
does his rounds and he doesn't see anything.
Sure. Yep. He's just I'm gonna tell him, take a break on a branch for a couple minutes and then
get some grubs.
head back up and yeah.
Oh, boy.
eat. And then make sure you just keep an eye out in case we have anything else approaching us.
You got a boss.
Yeah.
Just
He goes
absent-mindedly
and starts
Still
pecking
less
in
than
the.
six.
I mean, if we have like an hour,
Just
I'm
took
short
6-sided dice.
rested.
I'm like, oh, just the rings all these. Oh,
I would say you can get a short rest in as you guys are, as they're, building the funeral pyre and doing their rites and everything. You guys can probably get a short rest in.
Johanna's gonna say to the group, as I was cleaning up the battlefield, I searched through Sethus's belongings. It didn't look like he had any specific future plans. I did find a map of this area in the ambush and a letter that he wrote to somebody named Victoria, who doesn't sound like it's anything more than a love interest or a family member. But
Did he have a spyglass on him? A stethoscope?
no.
Do you have reverse inspiration for that? I get to impose disadvantage just randomly.
Fair.
She
Worth
says,
it.
I think as soon as the orcs are finished with their funeral rites, we should head back to the city as soon as we can and let Miranda know what's going on.
The map didn't have anything as far as a staging ground goes, right?
I don't think so. It made it sound like it was just like
It was
this
just the
area.
immediate area with plans for
Like
how they
a-
were gonna
Yeah.
Got it.
ambush. That more or less line up with how the ambush went off.
Yeah.
And she looks over back at the one left alive prisoner and says, just in my experience, I don't know that we're going to get any other useful information out of that one.
That's for Miranda to decide.
He just kind of glares at you but doesn't say anything.
It's like, that's so mean.
Well, she wasn't saying that, like, let's kill him. She was just saying, I think
You gotta be
we've
real careful with the words you
exhausted
use
this
around
source
us,
of
apparently.
information,
Yeah.
but we should
He's
bring
mildly
him back to
inconvenient.
the
We got
city
it.
alive.
What we did find out was essentially he joined he was recruited by others using his hatred of the orcs against the orcs, obviously. So he was gathered by a group based on orc hatred, and even though he was from Tranche, his mind was made up about the ways of those he doesn't really understand, it seems. What they were based out of Pines Keep, Pine Bluff,
Pine
Spire.
Pine Spire
Pine
Keep.
Bluff, though.
Pine
Yeah.
Bluff.
That's a state next door.
Yeah.
Roll me an intelligence check.
Help yourself to it. Sure. But I was really more telling you that you can help yourself to it. I feel bad about
I
it.
think
It's
those
not
actually
fault.
require a thing.
I'll find it. Accurate. Yeah, help yourself to regular or NA.
That was crap. Yeah.
Good at
No,
it.
7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so, as you were saying.
Yeah. So, they were based out of Pine Spire Keep. They left about a week ago, and haven't returned since. So, in theory, that was
About half a week ago, but yeah.
yeah. Isn't that
That's more or less around the time.
around the time that we were there? So,
Here.
This is why I can't have nice things, you guys.
oh, I know.
I'm sorry.
Alright, it's just a whoops.
The whole day is canceled.
So, yeah.
I could really use a fun day here.
Leave now tomorrow.
They set out from Pine Spire Keep. It doesn't look like they've returned yet. What we have done before then probably is unknown still. Do any of us know where? I don't know. He was really just kind of a zealot and a foot soldier. I figured that we could relay this information to War Chief, and then
Find out maybe if he knows Grim. I mean, Grim seems to be pretty interested in the. Thank you. In the,
And we can't recycle glass, so
Just throw it away.
I
So
hate it.
straight in the
I
ocean.
know.
Pretty much.
I mean, we can take it home.
Bonus
with us.
points if you hit a
I'm
dolphin.
okay with that.
Straight in the blowhole.
That's too far.
Yeah, that's too
Your
far.
build a wall was not too far, but
hit the
dolphin with a beer
dolphin.
bottle, that's too far.
so
We promise we are
um,
very good people who just make terrible jokes.
Yes, that's
Okay.
true. We would
Oh,
never...
we're being recorded right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
This is how everybody gets caught. They record their murders.
Yes.
Well, season 37, Philip.
Day 37.
Okay, so
And day 37.
you relay what you've gleaned from the prisoner. You relay that to the war chief once they're done with their rituals and everything.
Mhm. I would also ask if anyone needs to be healed, or does anybody need time to rest, or physically are we all okay to keep traveling?
Push forward.
The warfather looks over his retinue and he says, and he kind of calls out a couple of them that are the worst for wear. I can't remember which ones were worst. And says, "You two, get over here." And so they come up because they're going to follow his orders. And they allow you to heal them if you so choose.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
See what happens when you ask permission, Jinpat? You don't just
No,
touch
I like to
people.
assault people with
You don't
healing.
just touch people.
Is that already figured out, or do I need to keep doing that?
I tried to let him save face. He threw it in mine.
I did that after last session.
Well, that's your spell attack bonus. It's +7. So when you attack with a spell, you add 7 to your roll.
Oh, okay, that's why. That's okay.
One gets 11, one gets 10.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
They grunt. They basically grunt in appreciation, and then was there anything else you guys wanted to talk to them about, or are you ready to start marching? You wanted to
Ready to go.
Warfather Valkyrie,
Yes.
have you? I'm looking right at you. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
Because you're sitting right across from me. It's
Yeah.
so easy.
Yeah.
You look like an orc warfather.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Have
Your
you
tusk.
come
Maybe the
across
princess.
this wizard, Grim Evanwood, before? Do you know why he is so interested in your party?
I've never seen him. Never heard of him. Figured he was just part of this Sethis, I think you said. Figured he was just part of his party.
I thought we had established that it was an alliance of convenience, that Grim was offering his services to Sethis.
Yeah, basically Grim was helping Sethis, and in return Grim was getting something out of it.
Yeah.
But we don't know
But we
what
don't
that
know.
something was
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
And whether or not the favors were sexual. We don't know.
They always are.
I have, yeah. What game do you think we're
Always?
Always.
100% of the time.
100%.
Oh my.
He was my
Oh my God.
boyfriend.
I just had an amazing idea that would have been great for this session, but it's too late.
Did
Seth
we
is
kill the
Grim
guy?
Lovers?
Think on your feet. You can do it.
Next time.
Make it happen, Captain.
Nah, don't worry about it.
So, I have a long, long history with this wizard. My entire adult life has been focused on bringing him down.
A whole 2 years.
Shut up, there it goes.
My entire
You're,
adult
you're
year and
talking
a half.
to him, and he's literally looking straight down because he's 7.5 foot tall.
I love
He can't
it.
sit down to talk to me around the fire, or not the fire, but he can't
Well,
like
we're
sit down.
We're walking. Why are you
Oh,
lighting
we're
fires?
We're
No, we're
walking
not.
right now.
I don't think
I
so.
thought we hadn't left yet.
Yeah, either way.
This is really
I like
straining
the
my
idea
neck.
of-
If you could like sit down or something, at least I wouldn't have to look quite so high.
He
You'd
kinda-
still be over me.
He kind of chuckles a little bit, and he gets down on one knee, and he's still looking down at you, but it's not as much of a.
Oh my god.
You have all these guys get down on these for
I know, man. What's your secret?
Alcohol.
Hey, one shoe is sober.
No, we need it.
And as he gets down on one knee, he pulls out a small band. No.
Aw. For whatever reason, he seems to be involved with Cephas. Whether or not he's interested directly in your troop or these peace talks, I don't know. But obviously, Miranda and you want these peace talks to continue, and we want them to continue. He's going to come back again, and he is going to strike sometime before or during these peace talks.
I would assume as much.
And I would like to do everything in my power
This one's not
to stop that from
typically
happening.
we do stuff like
Although,
flour and sugar.
you say that he was allied out of some kind of business arrangement with this Cephas.
As far as we want.
With Cephas gone, what incentive does he have to carry out whatever plans he had?
Because he's a sadistic fuck.
He don't
Perhaps.
He don't give up.
There are others involved too. We don't know, but he will come back and he will be.
3 grand snack bars.
We're not done with him yet. You obviously have a lot of soldiers, a lot of strength. You guys are
Lacanto.
very. At this point, I'm trying to lay on the charm as best as I can, but be sincere. You know, you have a very strong group of people here. I know you can take care of yourself, but anything we can do to work together to make these peace talks happen and to bring down this wizard who has tormented my entire clan and others. I'd be
Believe
open
me
to
when-
suggestion.
Believe me, if we see him again, he'll be a priority target.
Thank you.
Thank you. And he
Thank
stands back
you.
up.
Pats me on the head. I'm gonna slap.
No, he just stands back up.
Careful. This is 2 things that are deadly to a dog. Sugar, alcohol, and cocoa.
Alcohol.
Sugar alcohol.
Oh, sugar.
Selective hearing?
I heard sugar, comma, alcohol, comma, and cocoa.
Okay, so unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about, you guys hit the road. You've got your you've got your prisoner in tow.
I'd probably summon Behoofment and put the prisoner up on Behoofment.
Okay,
Wait, were
That's-
you writing Behoofment before?
that's much nicer than he expected. But at this point he's just doing whatever he's told.
Yeah, we're friends.
He does not trust you. Yeah, and the rest of you guys had horses when you showed up.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of them.
Do a small one.
I thought we'd established that I just hold on to
That's
Saul's
mine.
little crow
And or
flies
middle.
around.
We are all wearing the same robes as Verdros. That's just a thing I remember.
Really?
But yeah, before we left, we had.
Oh yeah!
Before we left the first time, we had a tailor making robes for all of us
Not
that
a
matched
tailor.
you, and then before we left this time, they were ready. So we all walked.
I forgot about that.
Why not?
Yeah, we all thought it looked good, so we all used it as well.
No, but it's my look.
Now it's our look in the uniform of the Hobnobbers.
Okay, so you guys hit the road.
Hit the road,
travel the rest of the day is relatively quiet. Other than occasionally coming across a merchant or farmer who either take off running at the sight of the orcs or they give your group a wide berth. Like they're not going to get close. Other than those few moments, travel's completely quiet.
Sweet.
Eventually the sun starts to set and the orcs pick out spots and start making camp. You guys are welcome to set up your own camp, or you can try joining theirs, whatever you want to do.
I asked if we can. Really? Go.
It's
velvety.
When you ask if you can join their fire, the Warfather basically says, certainly.
So Jinkat kind of keeps an eye for what standard the orcs set for themselves, like how comfortable do they allow themselves to be, and he's sort of trying to like act as tough as they are. So if they're roughing it and like don't use a blanket, then he doesn't use a blanket or whatever.
They definitely are roughing it.
I want to be a real orc too.
I have such a dissonance. I both hate and want to be an orc.
They don't really have like blankets and things like that. They kind of just put their gear together as a pillow, but it's.
Can I offer up an RP opportunity that one of you is like, oh, Jinkat, do you need help getting your blanket out? I'm like, no, fine. I don't need a blanket. It's not cold.
But they're not going to bed. They're not going to bed yet. They're sitting down. They've set a fire. Shirag and Kat left the camp for a little while, and they came back with 3 or 4 rabbits and a deer carcass, which they set to cleaning and putting over the fire to cook. And then they offer to share that with you guys. But they're sitting around the fire. They're eating. They're checking their weapons, cleaning, sharpening blades, things like that. As you guys are joining them, Burgok looks at all of you, and his eyes settle on you and says, "All right, other than today, let's hear some tales of your past battles."
Oh.
We lost a fight to a rug.
Actually,
I lost a fight to a squirrel. There's so many to choose from. We get pretty rough and tumbles. We don't stop for libraries or anything lame like that. Like we're just fighting so much. There was that undead creature that we were.
A giant eye with tentacles that shot beams and was undead.
There was that thing.
He's trying to picture it in his head, but he's not the brightest one of the bunch. He's the biggest, not the brightest.
If you're struggling to imagine it, just imagine the scene.
Have you ever fought the Revenant Dragonborn?
A what?
Picture something like this fellow, but bigger and scarier, and believe it or not, smellier.
Again, undead.
One of them came right at me, and
I know the undead. I've fought them many times.
I said, forget the axe, I don't even need it, and I just tackled them head on, and we duked it out that way. Don't bring up the squirrel.
I wasn't going to, but I want to now. I was actually going to say, I'm not, I'll take some bites of food, but I'm not going to be, at the fire with them. I'm going to be off to the side. I can explain it that way.
I am eating the meat rawer than even the orcs are. I vote for myself to determine. I overcompensate at one point, and I'm like, I don't even need it cooked. I'm like,
this is a good way to get food
Constitution
poisoning.
12.
Okay. You managed to get it down. We'll see
If it stays down.
we'll see if you manage to make it through the night without getting some verbal guts.
So I'm sort of munching on that very rare venison as I'm telling this story.
Burgok actually, after seeing that, he grabs some raw meat and starts eating it too.
Oh god. He's the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He's not going to be shown up.
But what can I say? It's you don't get scars like this from nothing, and just
The
you know,
bite mark
I
of the
point at
squirrel.
my squirrel scar.
There was
What
the
about-
time. Sorry.
No, Verdros has you've got some stories, don't you?
Well, there was the time that we fought around a portal into hell itself.
Oh yeah, that was such a mundane time. I forgot about it.
Yes, nothing of any interest happened. there.
Under her breath, you
Yes.
hear Johanna go,
Yes.
"You're trying too hard."
He looks skeptically at you, and he when you mentioned your scar, he says, "That's not a scar," and he pulls one of his
Open chest cavity.
pulls one of his chest plates aside, and you see just like 3 deep gashes that have healed over just across his pec. He says, "These are scars." And he goes on to tell you a story about how he was tracking an owl or fighting an owl bear, and it raped him.
Owlbear?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What the hell is an owlbear?
it's a big
Okay,
ass
combine
bear.
the
It
bears
looks kind of like an
Got
owl.
like an owl face.
Yeah, it doesn't have wings.
That is
but-
terrifying.
yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Remind me.
Almost
I
as
got,
impressive
like,
as fighting a
3.
demon dragon back into hell. But,
Or a squirrel.
Squirrels are so scary.
You think that sounds good? Let me tell you about the time I fought a 2-headed ogre. Cleaved both its heads in one swing.
About the time we fought a blue flying ogre.
You mean the wait,
What?
the Oni?
Ogres don't fly.
This one did. Turned invisible, led us on a chase through an entire mansion.
I don't know what a mansion is, but I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's a very, very large house.
I will say, when he mentioned cleaving off both heads of an ogre in one swing, there were some knowing nods from some of the other orcs to
Like, yeah, we were
corroborate it.
there. We synced it.
Let's see.
I think I would bring up our encounter with the sorceress at Pine Spire Keep.
Oh, the witch lady?
Yeah. And essentially say something along the lines of, you know.
Just for
there's-
funsies, can I show off my beast shaping abilities?
If you want to.
I'm just gonna show them how I transformed into like the snake and the mouse and stuff.
Okay, so what are you turning
Just a
into
little flare.
first? Because you can do it twice, right?
Oh, I don't know if I can just do the kind of like for funsies, or if I have to use the slots still, even though we're not like.
I mean, it's your wild shape ability.
Okay,
It
then
resets.
I'm just gonna tell them about it then.
Oh, okay.
You can still show it off twice.
I can turn into an animal. Prove it. No.
It's in Canada. It's a Canadian animal.
Don't tell me what to do.
Okay, so they're swapping stories with you guys, and I'm assuming you guys are sharing some of your stories with them, and there's actually a little bit of camaraderie building here, and
I can ruin that.
you can get a sense that they are respecting each of you on an individual level a little bit more for the stories that you've shared. And it's a little less forced when you have conversations with them.
Do we get jaunty where eventually it's like, all right, show us the actual swing, how you took off 2 ogre heads at once.
Burgok will absolutely take his axe out, and he'll do an overhead swing, and basically there's a log like this big. He gets the axe halfway through it.
Yep.
Uh,
I Eldritch Blast the other half.
can Jincat
Of course.
Jinkat kind of go up and be like, "That's a fine weapon you've got," and started like. James cannot replicate this perfectly, but I want there to be like a deep discussion about axes and like, oh, do you feel like the weight of this as it gets to like?
He will engage you for 2 hours, just talking about, swinging axes.
Is there alcohol at this point in the?
They've pulled out, some mead and a cask of ale that one of the other orc was carrying on his back.
I like to think Jinkat, if it's offered, is feeling a little. He's a little loose at this point.
It tastes terrible.
I do my. Let me see how well I show it. 14. I feel like I should.
You do all right.
I cough it down pretty. Like I kind of give them the one color. That's some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Just there was a lot in that cough.
Did the prisoner get food?
I'm sorry?
Did the prisoner get food?
They wouldn't.
Oh yeah, the
have
prisoner.
But you could definitely take some to him.
So I would probably step away with part of my portion. Obviously, I'm not gonna cut off a slice from that. But I'd just step away in the midst of some storytelling and go over and try and talk to the prisoner or something. We can have that conversation whenever. But
He's not very talkative. He'll give you like one-word answers to things, but he's exhausted, and he saw a lot of his friends die that day, and he is held prisoner by these orcs that he despises so much, and and people that he view as being either traitors to the country or outsiders.
Essentially, I'd walk over and give him food, and then try and show that not everything is savage and there's civility, whether or not he
Do you
hears it.
feed it to him? Because his hands are tied behind his back.
Is he tied to a tree?
At this point, he's tied to, we'll say a tree. He's tied to something.
I'd put the plate in front of his face.
Just like
Eat like a dog.
Not
on the ground.
Not like here, boom, and then like he has to.
You're like holding it up. so
Yeah,
that
I'm
he
holding it up so he can eat some of it, but I'm not gonna He's not the emperor, and I'm not feeding him grapes. Like,
Right. Yeah, he kind of stares at you for a minute, and the smell kind of gets to him, and
yeah, I'd be like,
Don't worry, it's just COVID.
eat. You need your strength.
I got that vaccine.
thanks.
We got Moderna.
Yeah.
Which has the
And he
highest
eats.
longevity out of
But
it.
Yeah.
that's
Like a
about
helps
all that he's willing to,
PTSD.
as far as he's willing to
Yeah,
interact.
at some point I would say something about
There was an
civility,
article
but I have no clue.
if you read
That's
the
fine.
article, it's talking about
There's that, but then I
how
would kind of go
the
into
long-term
her
effects
and see what's
of
up.
getting COVID can be
Okay.
problems with.
All right.
But the way
So yeah, you guys have a night of swapping stories. You stepped away. Was there anything in particular you're doing, or are you
the
just
way
So
the headline was,
I didn't want to make it like
exact
obvious,
headline,
but she
but it
kind of
was
like fades back. finds
Pfizer
a tree,
vaccine helped
carves like
prevent
a
TB. And I thought, Pfizer came out
target
and
in
helped
it.
fight.
pulls out one of her wineskins, just kind of sets it on the ground in front of her, and she takes her dagger.
That's how they
and then
start their
her bow
R&D.
and
Like,
arrows,
alright,
and
we
she's
start
just
with
doing
fixing
target
boners and we
practice.
work backwards from there.
Okay.
To solve everything.
As you're doing that, you'll catch Sharag's eye, as she is also an archer. And
I had to double check.
as you are, lining up one of your shots at the target, you'll see an arrow come flying in and hit the target dead in the center. And you look over and it's Sharag, grinning.
I just kind of glance at her, and then I look back at the tree and I start shooting again. I will try to like split her arrow if possible.
Roll me an attack.
This is gonna be real embarrassing.
That's my butt you're touching.
Plus 8.
Bad
That's a 23.
Okay, you don't split it, but you manage to land pretty close to it.
Alright.
I hype her up
And if you look
so much.
And if you look over at her, she kind of gives you a
I kind of like
nod of respect.
almost imperceptible. I'll nod back and then.
And then when you turn back, you can see Cat, the displacer beast, has come up to the tree and pulled her arrow out and is bringing it back to her.
Cool. I would say at this point, Zulus is gonna head over there too and probably just take a seat next to her wine stand or whatever it is that you have. Just to kind of like
It's
be
just
there.
sitting there.
Got it.
I'm just sitting
Bring it
next
in,
to
boys.
just
We got
watching,
it.
just because I can know like she's in a different headspace. Just want to be, especially with other people that are not part of our group there, even though we're on the same side.
find anything.
Yeah.
I just want to be there.
Okay.
Seeing those two together, I would just see where they were and then head back.
I want to make it 0-sided die.
Is there anything else that
That
anyone
just
wanted to
says
do
no on all sides.
for the evening?
Well, I want it to be rollable. It just says no.
The orcs are going to be setting their own watching shifts. Do you guys want to set a watch as well, or do you want to just trust that the orcs will alert you guys to any danger? Or
So Jin Cat's definitely gonna offer to join in on the watches. Jin Cat's actually gonna overcompensate. He's gonna, I'll watch the whole night. Don't even worry about it. I got it.
They kind of chuckle to each other, and Warfather says, "Rest. You'll need your strength."
You know, I'm gonna rest because I need my strength.
Good idea.
Yes, Papa!
If I do see him shivering in the middle of the night, I will cover him with a
I just
blanket.
realized that Jin Cat doesn't know who his orc father is, and he might be working through some daddy issues right now.
Daddy?
Papa, can you
I'm comparing myself to him, like, is that Jawline mentioning him?
I'll do my regular trance and then, 4 hours and
Okay.
I'm done. So I'll be up and
So, does
watching
anyone want to
from there
cover
on out.
the other 4 hours?
I'd cover 4 hours.
I take the final 4, so I would go to sleep and sleep.
I'm
Well, he
resting.
only needs 4 because of his trance, and then he's good the other 8. But you can take.
Yeah, I figured I would take like the 4 before everyone gets up. Right? 12 hours? Is that what we're doing? No?
Yeah, I mean that's
I
fine.
don't know.
I'm
That's right.
resting
He'll be
because
awake
Daddy
too.
told me to.
Yeah.
So okay. All right, so you guys set up watches. Just in the sake of brevity, the night passes. The only thing that happened was the prisoner tried to escape, but the orcs caught him in the act before he got more than 10 feet.
Don't you do it.
And they knocked him unconscious, and then they tied him back up tighter.
Can I try to go hunting first thing in the morning before before he wakes up?
Sure, roll me a survival.
Daddy, sorry.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's not going to be good. 5 plus 0.
Oh.
Okay, so you go hunting, and you don't even find any game for most of it until towards the end, you see one rabbit, and as you start to go after it, an arrow comes in, and you look over and it's Shirag.
Jin Cat's literally like he's having the same thought I'm having right now. Do I play it cool and just be like good shot, or do I be like that was my kill and try to act tough? And I settle with
somewhere in the middle.
like
That was my cool.
yeah. I'm like I don't even know how to combine. So I'll just be like, you want me to get it? I pick it up and bring it to him.
Shirag takes it, and she says, "Thank you." Pulls the arrow out, cleans it off of it, puts it back in the quiver, and she ties the rabbit onto her belt with a couple others.
I look at the head tied to my belt. It's starting to smell
Get
a
rid
bit.
of that thing.
Anyway.
It is.
What is with you as a player and
Prestidigitation.
taking limbs?
Okay, it's only happened
You
3
are Rocket
times.
Raccoon. You are Rocket Raccoon.
Okay.
I need that,
I'll
guys.
get that.
Okay, so as
I'm
morning
pretty
comes,
sure I left the arm behind, but the head was a gift, and I don't know what to do with it.
as morning comes, Sharad brings back some more rabbits. No deer this time. They're cooking that up. She did also find a nest of quail eggs, so they're making some eggs, and there's of course always
Saul
rations.
looks on in horror.
And so they're getting breakfast going, and Rogmesh, the death speaker, she comes up to you as breakfast is cooking, and she says, "Are you going to do anything with that?" And gestures towards the head on your belt.
I hadn't decided yet. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, we could talk to it.
You had my attention.
You can do that too.
Wow!
She holds her hand out.
I like fumble with the knot for a second, and then just wind up
No,
cutting
wait, I can't.
the hair that's tied around my head. I'm like,
Never mind, I can't.
as I'm handing over, I'm like,
Good.
wait, will it talk back also?
Just watch. And she settles down into like a cross-legged pose and sets the head in front of her. And she casts Speak with Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And the head is sitting there, it's kind of to the side. And it just kind of goes and looks up at her. And then she's sitting there and is like, "Why did you attack us?
Why
We
didn't
meant
we
you
do
no
this
harm.
yesterday?
We meant you no harm." And the head kind of, "You are filth."
Well, that's not very nice.
She sits there and
Rude?
she sits there and she kind of says, "Fair enough. What would you like to know?"
Verdros, we have some interior. Is Verdros awake right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know.
So I kind of summoned Verdros over. I'm like, Verdros, did you have any more follow-up questions for our second prisoner?
Yes.
As
I
you're
don't know
doing
who they
that,
are.
she turns back to the head and says, "What other surprises lay in wait for us that you've set in motion?" And the head goes, "Wouldn't you like to know?"
Yeah, well, you're a detached head, so you literally don't have a butt, which means you are literally a butt head. So what do you think of that?
Grim.
Not even looking
I
at you.
come over and I tell the head, Grim Evan would
His eyes shift over to you.
abandon you to this fate. What exactly did he get in return for helping you?
He doesn't say anything. Rogmesh repeats the question
Ah.
because she's the one that cast it. So.
Yeah.
And he basically was just like, he's always looking for fresh bodies.
It's kind of what I figured. It's a necromancy.
Oh, the
Fools in
hypocrisy of
mortality.
judging necromancy as we speak.
Stop them from, like,
Depends on the spell.
Yeah.
okay. Would I know,
Stops him from what?
like, him from, would I know if there's a way to stop him from using dead bodies, like burning the corpses or?
If you burn the corpses, it's most likely they'll be unusable. If they are usable, it would just be the skeletons.
Okay.
But most likely, if it's a good fire, like then it's gonna destroy the body.
Aside from Pine Spire Keep, where is Grim Evanwood's base of operations?
Rogmesh repeats the question, and he says, "I haven't the foggiest."
Is it snoring or growling?
Growling.
Mm-hmm.
Mooch out.
There's trees outside.
Oh,
yes.
well.
Just understandable.
Thank you for protecting
All right,
us.
you guys got one more question.
Johanna would look to the group and say, should we ask if he knows what Sethus plans to, or how he plans to affect the peace talks?
Well, we're asking Sethus's dead severed head.
I thought it was this.
What
the
did I
second
say?
prisoner.
Grim.
Oh, yeah.
I meant asking
Is
if
this
Sethus.
Sethus or is this the prisoner?
It's Sethus.
This is Sethus' head.
This is
Oh.
So,
I was
sorry,
being
to
cheeky when I
rephrase,
said our second
Johanna
prisoner.
meant ask Sethus if he knows what Grim plans to do at the peace talks. Or do you think that would be wasting a
Should we ask where
question?
Grim went? Do you think Sethus would know?
No, I don't think so. If he doesn't know where he's based, he doesn't know where. It
Yeah.
stands to reason that Grim would have, if he did teleport, which we're pretty sure he did, he would have returned to his base of operations, and Grim doesn't know where it is, and if he does, he's not telling us.
Would it make sense to ask, had they succeeded in the ambush, what their next steps were? To kind of give us an idea of.
I think your first instinct of, what's to come,
What's next?
yeah.
Yeah. If he didn't want to, if he wasn't going to tell what lays ahead of us on the road, or what lays ahead of us, I don't think that line of questioning would get you anywhere.
What
But-
about with you dead, what sort of attack will Grim be planning next?
Would there be any value in getting our actual prisoner to ask Sethus a question?
Yes.
What are you asking?
Yeah, because he might be more inclined to answer his
Inquiry.
yeah.
Well,
No,
Rogmesh has to be the one to
Rogmesh
ask
has
the
to
question.
ask
Right, but we can have the
got it,
but we can
yeah.
have the prisoner there, and I mean maybe the prisoner winds up asking a more like, oh, Sethus here. I don't know. I'm probably giving too much credence to this, but I'm just thinking possibly the prisoner could ask some sort of inside information question to Sethus that we couldn't even come up with, but probably would not work out that way.
Yeah, the prisoner's not exactly on your side anyway.
Well, why
Yeah.
not?
Also, he's currently unconscious.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
because he
Yeah.
tried, because he tried doing
Because he
tried
tried to
to
run
save
away,
him,
so the
uh,
orcs knocked him
Oh, I
out.
missed that. Yeah, okay.
Well, you were busy trancing.
Diddly do.
We could lie to Sethus. Sethus doesn't necessarily know how the rest of the ambush went.
What other? Do you have other necromancers working with you?
I think it's
I
safe
would
to
guess
say
probably.
that, yeah, Grim, we know Grim already had one working under him. So,
Yeah.
We could.
I think focusing on current threat is the way to go.
Right.
And
I'm just
using
wondering if we.
these
I mean,
talks
Sethus.
Yeah.
Sethus doesn't know that Grim teleported away.
I mean, how will
He said
Grim
he abandoned you.
right.
try to interfere with the peace talks going forward?
Yeah, I like that.
Is that the question?
I say go for
What do I
it.
get?
A group comes to a consensus.
Two.
Yes.
Okay. So Rogmesh asks that question, and Sethus kind of grins and just says, "Let's just say this show's only getting started."
Fuck you.
Boo.
Chop his head off.
That was supremely unhelpful.
Well, it is this.
More like suck yes.
That's no stethoscope, but you're getting there.
More like
Are you guys trying
Jet
to get disadvantage on all your rolls?
there.
Okay, so anything else you guys want to do before setting out?
No.
Do we have?
I said no.
The guest speaker tosses the head back to you and says, "There's nothing left of this one."
I toss it into the fire.
Do
Okay.
it. Get
None
rid
of the
it.
orcs even acknowledge or bat an eye at it.
I look over at the group like, oh, thank goodness, I didn't know how that was going to go. I'm so tired of carrying that
Miranda may have
around.
wanted proof that he's dead.
I pull it back out of the fire, like, just sort of pat out any singed hair.
Do you, or
Can
do
we
you?
just? I would feel like we could just tell her that he's dead, and she should trust us by now. Or we're running around doing all her dirty
Well,
work.
and the
You
orcs
know,
would
the
corroborate.
orcs are
Yeah.
there.
Well, who can trust those dirty savages?
Savages.
That's what I'm saying.
Verdros is a double agent.
Always has been.
Verdros got converted last night.
Yep.
Do we
Okay.
Prisoner
want
isn't valid
to-
points.
You're right. They are not pretty.
Do we want to come up with a plan of some sort? Do we want to stay back from the peace talks so we can have an outside view? Like, it's safe to say this is probably going to be another ambush of some kind, especially if they got inside people.
Right.
How can we
We need to be on our
out ambush the ambushers?
We need to be on our guard as we enter the city, on the lookout for anything that looks out of place. But I think we're better off not hanging back and making sure that we're working with Miranda and the forces of Graves Keep.
Could you disguise yourself as either the prisoner or even as Sethis himself? And pop to see if someone reacts, like, oh my gosh, it's Sethis. We're starting the evil plan now.
Did Grim see Sethis go down?
Yes.
Damn. Okay.
But like the inside guards didn't.
Oh.
What?
Hang on.
Dun dun dun, a plan is being
The who?
formulated.
There's some untrusted people.
I think we
inside of
established
Miranda's
How tall is
kingdom.
Verdros? I'm not asking you.
Weirdly tall. We all talk about it
How
behind your
tall
back.
is Warfather Valkoon?
We're like, oh, that
He's
guy's stuck.
like 7.5 foot.
Okay. I'm 6 feet tall. I can add a foot to my height with disguise self. What if we spend some time crafting physical disguise to assist with disguise self, and I enter as Warfather Valkoon?
Okay, what are you gonna do with the actual Warfather Falcon?
We dig a hole.
Eldritch Blast.
We invent the moat.
I think we leave him with a few of his troops hidden outside the city.
Do we ask him or do we just do it?
No, we'll act like.
Okay.
Let's formulate
Before-
this plan and then come to him with it.
Before you guys get too much farther, have you guys contacted Miranda to let her know what's gone on at this point?
Do we have a way of doing that?
That's faster than us just. Oh, yeah.
Go for it. Please contact Miranda and let her know everything that's happening. Warfather, like, I'm thinking, because 25 words, right? Warfather safe.
Well,
Seth
so-
is
If you had it
dead.
prepared, you could have done it the night before.
Since we
but you
haven't,
have
so
all
we
your
haven't
spells.
sent the message yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I did
So do
have
we
it
want to come up with a
prepared. I
plan
did have a
before
spell
sending
slot.
something to
Yeah,
him?
let's
We
come
could
up with a
do it
plan.
last night.
Okay,
that
so
would be great.
a little bit of a retcon. He's gonna do the spell the night before
Okay.
taking a rest.
Cool.
And what exactly do you say in your 25 words?
Do what diddy dum diddy do.
I mean,
Hello, Miranda. Warfather is safe.
Sethis is dead.
Ambushed by Sethis and Grim Evanwood.
Okay.
Sethis is dead. Grim got away.
Okay.
She want to know we're on our way.
We
Bring messages.
on
Be back tonight.
our way.
No, this was last night. He said
Oh yeah,
this.
we'll be back tomorrow night.
Grim likely to attack.
Stop. See you soon. Be prepared.
Okay. After a brief
We'll be prepared
pause,
for what?
after a brief pause, she responds, and you hear her basically say, Well then I'm glad you went to meet them. See you back soon. I would like you all to attend peace talks as trusted guards.
So cut to current time.
Yeah, so now it's the next day. And I'm assuming that you shared her response with everyone.
Yeah. Do I get the sense that her response was like, oh, whatever, never mind. I was like, did she want a response?
Oh.
Who
She knows how the spell works.
Yes.
Mad at me?
You didn't call me back. Are
Yeah.
we okay?
I like sending me in as a decoy.
I don't think the Warfather would go for it, and if anything, we should wait a little bit and sneak him in later on that night, so at least he's within.
Well, we just have to sell it as not an act of cowardice, but an act of putting all the targets in one spot, rather than having a one-off fight and then another
Yeah.
one-off fight and another one-off fight.
I know. I mean, if I were talking to him, I'd say I know that you can handle this, but we want to draw out these cowards altogether. Allow me to be the target so that they can come out, and then you can join us in battle and slaughter them all, basically.
Because you're so big and strong.
I mean, this is a way to get these cowards to reveal themselves so that we can end them once and for all.
So, are you telling him to basically wait outside the city while you guys go in? Or, like, what are you specifically telling him to
Well, I'm gonna. What's the name of their caster?
do? Rogmesh Death Speaker?
Rogmesh. I'm gonna ask Rogmesh if she if she can do any sort of magic that would help hide him.
Let's see.
His whole group can't wait outside the city. They'd have to go with you to make you look
Like him.
real.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Nope.
thinking if we can bring him with us.
No, they don't have any kind of, like, invisibility or disguise or...
And
I
he
have
is
invisibility that I can cast, but it's only good for an hour.
Well, disguise self is only good for an hour.
Yeah.
But I think an hour is enough time to get from the gates of Gray's Keep into the keep of Gray's Keep.
Yeah, yeah, you'd be able to make that trek
Yeah.
in that amount of time.
Can
Okay.
So if we cast invisibility on him, while I am disguised as him,
Roll a persuasion check.
okay.
I can't be much help, but is there someone who could possibly help us?
Yeah, can anybody help me persuade him?
Oh yeah, yeah.
How do you help?
We're all trying to explain the plan.
Well, she would
I'll be
explain
explaining that
invisibility,
I'm gonna-
so-
yeah,
yeah.
I'll cast my invisibility.
Okay.
You will be completely.
Like, he understands what the plan is.
Yeah.
Can I be? I'll suggest that I'm the one to explain it and kind of play up the tough guy. Like, just really emphasize that this is not an act of cowardice, or we're not doing this just for your safety. We're doing this just as a way to get all of the enemies out in the open.
We're using our friend as bait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the bait.
Maybe we even lean into it and we're like, we think it'd be a funny prank if Beardros got shot. So we're
Roll your persuasion. With advantage.
Yes!
so much better.
22.
22.
Where's persuasion?
He's...
Oh, do I get advantage too?
I was asking him to roll with advantage
Oh.
because of the help that you all gave him.
Gotcha.
Super friends.
He doesn't like it, but he gets it.
But
So he agrees.
Jump freeze frame, yay!
So, but if you guys are going to make it to Gray's Keep before the day's out, you're going to need to leave pretty much right away.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
Date.
I think I would ask if they have any use for the prisoner, or what they think his fate should be.
The orcs?
Yeah.
The orcs don't care. They're not. He's not a threat anymore.
Okay, cool.
I
just
but
didn't
they
know-
also feel like he's dead weight. Like,
Where did you get those 3 unique ones?
Why are we bringing him to
That
Miranda?
was
Is my
the
question.
Who's
first
that
one of
teenager?
dice
She might have
that
questions if she has
Friday
questions.
got for me when we started playing D&D.
He might be more open to
Okay.
talking
They were
to
just
another
individual
human.
picks.
Oh,
I
you
know we
only
do have
needed a
humans
D8
in our
and
group, but
D6.
we tend to be a
No, that's
We had a
fine.
half orc and a
No, that's fine.
lizard man.
You only had one set
No
of
wielding
dice.
a knife
No.
talking to him before, so.
Hey, I'm very proud of myself. I resisted buying a set of these.
okay, so you guys head out.
Yes.
Much like the previous day's evening, you guys travel without much incident. Any other travelers on the road either turn around and run once they see you, or they just give you guys lots of space because they don't want to mess with orcs. And you basically the day passes, no problems. As the sun starts to get low in the sky, you can see the eastern gate approaching.
I have a question. Proposal or whatever. Should we try and conceal our numbers by some of us going ahead first?
No,
don't
they're
think
they're
so.
expecting us as a group.
Yeah.
I do think we need to be off the beaten path right as we're approaching, so we can get as close to the gate as possible without being in direct view of any outlook, so that we can cast invisibility.
There's
and
a bit of a
disguise
shanty town outside all of the gates, so there's definitely, and it's not like a straight road that goes straight up to the gate. There is some kind of winding, so there are opportunities as you get close to the gate that you could do your, spell casting out of sight of the gate.
Yeah.
Places where it wouldn't look really weird to have a bunch of fucking orcs pull off to the side of the road.
Well, no, the road is kind of weaving in and out, and there's rocky outcroppings, and there's
Okay.
lean-to structures, and
Yeah, it's just
some carriages, whatever.
It's just if everyone's parting way to make way for the orcs.
So how long do you
Well,
need to cast
it's funny
disguise self?
as you guys start to approach, you don't see anybody.
Mm.
Like it's
One action.
Even like in the little shanty town, like it's pretty empty
So is
too,
it-
or there's still people.
yeah. Roll
I'm
me a perception
envisioning
check.
like
whoever's
as a,
looking.
almost as a callback to the night before. You're like, no. His scar looks like this. We just saw it last night.
It's magic.
5.
Out of
You don't see anybody.
Wow, this place is deserted.
Oh, yeah, I guess we are. I'm looking at him.
Whoever.
we're all alone. Everyone get naked.
No, funny.
Perception, right?
Yeah,
11.
You okay?
11. Okay,
Yeah,
so
sometimes
you
I,
guys don't
like
see
to
anyone.
Do this, like,
You
weird
managed to catch
nerd,
sight
like
of,
cramping restlessness thing, and they're just
someone's,
like acting
like,
up a little bit
foot
right now.
just
There's a
sticking
name for
out
that
from behind
syndrome.
like a
Restless
tent flap
leg.
So
as they
Bernie swears
pull
I
it
have
back
restless
in.
leg.
It
I did
looks
not.
like the people know that the
but
orc delegation is
We're,
coming. And
it
they're
was
coming
real
in this
bad last
direction.
night. Like I
It
was
looks like the people are
basically
scared
running
of the
in
orcs,
bed.
and they're hiding.
But normally it's just like that's
Like every now
My
and
sign
then, you
that
are
I am
able to
tired
catch
is
maybe
when
like
my
a
leg
child like
starts to
peering
hurt.
out from behind something before their parents pull them back.
has it
or-
been like it's
or
always
something
been
like
that
that.
way.
But
for
You
me.
for the
already
most
knew I
part,
actually
It
married
doesn't
you.
look like anyone's hiding to attack us. They're
You
just
started
hiding
with the
because
legs,
there's a
didn't ya?
band of
And I
orcs
don't know
walking
for you,
through
but
the
for me, like it's always
Yeah,
my calf,
basically.
like right at the top of my calf.
I get it.
so
I think mine's more.
you guys
thigh.
are approaching, and there's one last bend in the road before you go up to the gate, and at that bend there is kind of a jutting out of rock that the bend goes around and up. So on the other side of that outcropping would be probably a good place to cast your spells before you.
We'll do it, and I'll ask the Warfather where in our party is he going to be walking with us, just so
So we know where.
when I
like,
can tell Miranda he's right over there.
I was gonna
So-
say, should we have him like on a horse or
He's-
something?
He's going to have the head takers form up around you, as they have been around him.
Whatever he wants.
And he's going to stand at the back of the head takers in the center, and just keep that formation.
Okay.
Can we keep Saul behind with them? Like,
Well, he's coming with you. He's just he's disguised as the Warfather, and the Warfather
we're
is
not
actually
leaving him behind.
No,
We're just
no.
he's
leaving
gonna
him-
He's
he's gonna be like
invisible in the
15,
formation,
20
yeah.
feet behind.
Gotcha.
Yeah. One action, at will.
Yeah.
Invisibility.
As he starts to fade, he kind of looks at his hand and
The ultimate catfish.
so. All right. So you guys continue on. As you
And we can't even tell where he is because of the invisibility.
right, but you know where he said he's going to be, and you're leaving space
For
in
him.
that area for him to be.
Does he
I
give
know I
you his
botched my
axe?
first perception roll, but can Johanna roll another one as we're approaching the gate just to make sure she doesn't see anything that looks like it's going to turn into an ambush?
Sure.
Okay.
I assume he gives me like his axe and stuff.
21.
Oh, and it's in that 20. So as he does not give you his axe or anything. He
I ask
does,
him if I may hold on to it.
and you would have discussed this prior, I would assume. This is something that he's not going to budge on. An orc's weapon has cultural significance to them, and they don't give them up. So
Can I offer him my axe? Would that?
Bite your nails, my love.
My axe.
he doesn't have an axe. He has two like great swords.
Can you just like any type of magic to like cast illusion on?
I mean,
stuff
I can
like
definitely, I can do clothing.
I would say if you got it like on your back.
Yeah. I can't draw them. My hands will pass right
Yeah,
through
they're
them,
just
but-
illusory, but
Yeah. Okay, good.
yeah.
We do that.
Okay. Okay, so as you approach, Johanna, you notice first, but at the gate, there are soldiers lining the walls. They don't have weapons drawn, but they have them at the ready. It doesn't look like it's necessarily an ambush. It looks like it could just be there's a band of orcs entering the city that we want to be cautious of. But it could be an ambush. But you don't get the sense that that's the intention. You feel like if it was going to be an ambush, they probably would be hiding themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I feel like if she knew that Miranda was expecting them, probably, like you said.
yeah. So as you approach, the tension in the air is palpable. The guards are watching intently as your group approaches, specifically staring at the fake Warfather Valkoon and eyeing all of the head takers around him. And as you approach, the gate is open. You pass through, and you're almost involuntarily, or your breath kind of catches in your throat a little bit out of just nervousness and tension as you guys step through, and then you're on the other side. And previously when you've been in the city, especially along these main thoroughfares, it's just been hustle and bustle. But right now it's a ghost town. As you're walking, you can see, you catch glimpses down alleyways and from like upper story shuttered windows. You can see people peering out and watching, but it is very clear that people are staying away from these orcs.
We have weapons at the ready. Like I would have
Yeah,
my weapons at the ready.
yeah, that's fine.
Maybe not like actively like looking at, but like
Yeah. There are 4 guards that walk with you, 2 in front and 2 at the back of your group. just kind of escorting you. But you follow that path in towards the center of the city where you have to go to get to the upper terrace. And it's pretty much the same all the way into the center of the city. It's ghost town. You don't see hardly anyone other than just glimpses here and there. And it's kind of eerie. As you get to the town center, as you approach, you start hearing the sounds of like a loud murmur. Like there's some kind of crowd in the center of town, and as you enter, the volume just increases, and you see basically a line of guards holding back or marking off a boundary, and on the other side is just this large group of people shouting and just angry and like yelling.
Nice.
I wave and smile at them.
yelling racial slurs at these orcs.
Whoa!
And spitting and
Gross.
just angry. And you
bigots.
You enter the town center. To go up to the upper terrace, you basically you enter and you just have to do basically a U-turn and start going up. Up the thoroughfare up to the upper terrace.
Yeah.
Do you just ignore the crowds, or do you respond to any of them?
I mean, I'll keep a perception check to look and see if anybody's like got anything more dangerous than a tomato.
Or maybe doesn't fit in. Like they could be sitting there.
That's a
You know,
dragon.
Silently.
Like dwarves.
Roll a
I was gonna
perception
say,
check.
like the Umbrella Man.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
You know, JFK
Junkat's definitely,
assassination,
you know,
that whole thing with
he's
the
back in
Umbrella
guard
Man.
mode. You know, he was guarding.
Yeah, I got a 9.
I got 17.
22.
Okay.
My passive perception.
You
13.
definitely.
17.
I would say that the three of you. Did you?
Oh,
My passive's 19.
I'm rolling
I'm
for
not-
Saul.
Okay, you picked up on
I'm aware.
Saul got
Okay.
like a 10.
So the four of you are aware. Some of these individuals are more aggressive and animated than others. Some people are just there because, you know, they got swept up and they're interested in seeing what's going on. But you get the feeling that this is just kind of a general protest.
Protest?
There are probably a few individuals that if there was enough provocation from the orcs, then they would definitely start flinging bottles or something. So, again, are you guys just walking past? Are you engaging
Yes.
at all? Saying anything? Doing anything?
Johanna would think it would be best just to not engage whatsoever.
As
Just
Melania says, be best.
be best.
Okay. All right. Then you guys manage to curve around and start up the ramp to go to the upper terrace. And as you do, one individual kind of breaks through the line and starts running.
I behead him.
Running at the group with a dagger, and the two guards in the back kind of step up and they cross their pikes and are able to form a barrier and kind of grab him and push him back, and they're able to kind of stop him before he gets.
If anyone in our group looks at it or, you know, gives this person the time of day of attention, I sort of, you know, give it a guiding hand of just eyes forward, you know, don't even acknowledge.
Okay. I mean,
Let me in.
the head takers have definitely been watching, like keeping an eye out over their shoulders and stuff. But seeing the guards immediately move to intercept this individual, they are not acting on their own. And you get the sense, both from the talk the night before and throughout the journey today, like the Warfathers these guys know what's going on. You also get the feeling that there are a lot of orcs that aren't in favor of this peace too. They are aware that both groups have lots of dissenting opinions in them. So just because they were ambushed, and just because this crowd is yelling at them, they understand, just like at home, the actions of a few do not represent the whole.
Yeah.
So you get the feeling.
Warfather seems pretty damn wise.
Yeah,
Wise enough to recognize that peace is the answer.
Yeah, the Warfather is an anomaly amongst
Oh,
orcs.
it is?
Yeah.
For
I've been
sure.
shooting for the wrong.
Most of them are stupid, ugly savages.
Well, they tend
Good
to
thing I'm
be
only half savage.
more aggressive and more
my
physical and
daddy's
less
savage.
intellectual on average.
Yeah.
What's your DJ name, Daddy Savage?
So you guys make it through the town center. You make it into the upper tier, and up here it is. If it was a ghost town before, like, this place is truly ethereal. You don't see signs of anyone. Windows have been boarded up along the path. You don't even see smoke in any of the chimney stacks. Like, the upper tiers where, like, the rich people live, and the wealthy aren't taking chances. So they are just gone. But as you approach the entry gate to the castle, you see Miranda standing there with some of the members of the Royal Guard, waiting to welcome you all. And as you approach,
It's just coffee.
It smells good.
Coffee.
It's like fruity. Like I keep getting like a
Oh, it's
hint
the
of like
citrus
citrus.
chocolate. Oh, I don't like this one. Do you want it?
I'll take it.
Oh, there's more, Taylor. Do you want me to make anybody
Oh,
want
I'm
coffee?
good. I got some left still. I just kept getting that hint of citrus, and I kept
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
something smelled like fruit, and I couldn't figure out where it was.
Oh.
So as you approach, Miranda is standing there, and she's standing there with her hands clasped in front of her.
Do you want anything?
And as you get close, some heavy whipping cream and stevia. Thank you. And as you all approach, she opens her arms. She says, "Welcome, Warfather and your retinue. We are so delighted that you were able to make it safely."
Does this guy self-cover your voice?
I was gonna say,
No.
as an aside, did we tell her
Cool.
that he's
No.
smelled
Nope.
you?
Nope.
We didn't tell anyone. Okay.
Did we think this plane through?
So
No.
Why did we do this again?
Does she know what Warfather Valkyrie's voice sounds like?
She knows what Beatrice's voice sounds
I mean,
like.
Virgos can do impressions. We got away with me pretending to be the witch the other.
Oh boy.
We
about to
little while
see a
ago.
performance check from
Yes, you are.
Verdros.
I like the color of that mug.
I just had
Perception
coffee.
check or performance check.
I'll just say, let us speak further inside.
Let us speak.
21.
Yeah, pretty close. And she,
Let us speak further inside, y'all.
if she suspects that there's any trickery afoot, she doesn't let on.
Yeah.
She does hold
do
the door
walk
open suspiciously long, as if waiting for an
beside
invisible
her
person to
as
walk
we
through
go
the door.
in.
Well, before you guys go in, she will then say, "We do ask that, as you enter the castle grounds, we ask that you relinquish your weapons in the interest of peace."
It's okay. We have an invisible axe.
And the
Plus,
the
Eldritch
orcs visibly start to bristle.
Perhaps we could discuss this in an antechamber, away from prying eyes. But at the end of that, I let the impression go a little bit, as I say, away from prying eyes. As
Okay.
various.
And she says, "Okay, how about we step inside the gate at the very least?" So, you all enter just inside the gates.
And I watch for the entire. I keep forgetting the name of it. The head.
Procession, the retinue.
The head
Head takers.
Head taker retinue to come in, plus another couple beats, and then.
Yeah, and they close the gates behind the group, and Miranda says, "Very well, you can drop the ruse."
I dropped this guy's self. Yep.
Well,
Verdros, where did you come from?
are you gonna need it when you leave the antechamber?
I can cast it at will.
Oh, okay.
Cast it whenever I want.
Okay, so Verdros is now
Yeah.
standing. Zelissa, do you keep concentration on invisibility up, or
Yes, I will. You're
Yeah.
next.
So much.
Do you want the city?
I will say,
Do you want French vanilla? Do you want cream and sugar?
you know, how do we do this? Warfather, would you please be so kind as to speak up?
and you hear from an empty space where you would expect
Yeah.
the Warfather to be based on the other head takers. He basically says, "Yes, it was an interesting journey." And
The
Miranda,
Warfather had the wisdom to see that such a plan would be in everybody's best interest.
Miranda nods and says, "Yes, I only wish that I'd been made aware, but I understand that there are limitations to resources, and I appreciate the foresight in guaranteeing safety."
I did not feel
If
it
we
was
could-
appropriate for me to speak to whether or not the Warfather and his retinue should carry weapons, so I will leave that to both of you.
And at this point, Miranda's going to say, can we drop the pretense entirely? Zelissa, Miranda's asking you to drop the invisibility.
Sure, girl, I gotcha.
Okay. So, with that, you drop concentration, and the Warfather becomes visible again. And
Do like any of the guards will go like, oh shit.
they kind of picked up on it once. They kind of jumped a little bit when you dropped yours.
I'm
but
just
at this
thinking he
point-
probably still looks more intimidating than I could magically achieve.
He's got 6
Okay.
inches on you, doesn't he?
Well, I think I might have put some lifts in my shoes and stuff, hiked it up a little bit.
He's wearing stilettos.
Yeah.
Saul was sitting in the top of my hood.
Verdros was wearing stilettos.
Yeah.
I always do.
So at this, Miranda and the Warfather begin to speak, and she again requests that they relinquish their weapons in the interest of, peaceful talks. And the Warfather nods his head and says, "Unfortunately, that is a request that we will not be able to abide by. Our weapons are of cultural significance to us as much as they are utilitarian.
It's a security weapon.
And beyond that, we are entering into your stronghold, surrounded by your men. This could very well be another ambush that we are walking into, and I feel that myself and my retinue would be better served to have our own protection on hand." And Miranda thinks about this for a moment and says, "Very well, I will allow the orc delegation to continue to hold their weapons, even whilst on the premises of the castle. Please follow these men. They will show you to your chambers for the evening, and peace talks will begin on the morrow. And then if I could speak with the rest of you before we end the evening."
Sure thing, dollface.
And the orcs start to follow. They leave the prisoner with you guys because they don't care. And they follow. They are led basically into the castle, where they are being led to whatever accommodations have been made for them. At this point, Miranda lets out a sigh, and is just like, "Well, that was nerve-wracking. I pray the rest of your journey was uneventful?
Yes, uneventful. We did bring someone along just in case.
I can see that. And who is this exactly?
This is a follower of Sethus. He was not really able to provide much information to us, but...
Excellent. And she kind of puts her hand up and waves her finger, and 2 guards come over, and she says, I'm going to need 6 of you to escort this prisoner and keep him under guard. There should be no less than 6 of you within sight of him at any given time. And they usher him off to wherever they're going to be holding him. And she is not taking chances. She figures, the more people watching her, the less likely it is that one of them can sabotage the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So she thanks you for bringing the prisoner back to be interrogated. And then she immediately follows up with, and as I said before, I would appreciate if you all could attend the peace talks tomorrow as a trusted party, as I'm still not entirely sure who within my guard is fully trustworthy. And at this point, there are no guards immediately right there, so she's kind of lowering her voice for that part. However, the one fly in the ointment is, while I can waive the requirement for the orc delegation, I will need you all to surrender your weapons whilst you are on the castle grounds.
I cast invisibility on my scimitar.
May I propose that our weapons be surrendered but kept nearby us, so that in the event of an attack, your guard may provide them to us at a moment's notice.
We can't protect you without our weapons.
It is unfortunately not something that I have control over. Honestly, it's going to be a little bit of a fight to allow the orcs to keep their weapons, but given their position in this, I think it's something that we're going to have to acquiesce on.
Do we have a bag of holding?
No.
No.
I hand over my axe.
What if we were to be commissioned as actual guards within your team?
That is something we could potentially discuss.
And then decommissioned afterwards.
I can look into it, but with the paperwork that would be involved in that, I doubt we could get something like that set up quickly.
If only we knew a member of the royalty who could push such a thing through.
I know God.
As much privilege as I enjoy, I cannot override my father's orders.
So, Jin Cat's going to hand over his axe.
She motions for some guards to come over.
Saying this to Adam because I don't want to do a reverse gotcha moment later. I do still have a dagger. I'm not drawing attention to it. I mostly think of it as like a pocket knife. So genuinely, Jin Cat isn't thinking like I'm hiding a dagger.
Is it visible? Like, is it just on your belt?
I mean,
would it normally be visible?
I genuinely haven't thought about it until this moment. So obviously it'd be more advantageous if it's not, but I don't want to be like, it's just ideal for me. I would think that it'd be somewhat covered up in other cloth and stuff. It's not meant to be like a quick access thing per se, but I mean,
that's your call.
I was gonna say roll.
It's visible.
It's visible. Okay, so the guard takes your axe and stands there, looks at your dagger, and waits expectantly.
I'll just sort of bow back.
Your dagger, sir.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I forgot about
I imagine Jin Cat just like awkwardly like, yes, what human ritual is this?
Let me just remove all this fabric that was in the way of it. And I hand it over. I don't know why I actually leaned so that you can read.
Thank you. And two other guards are coming up, and they have basically an empty chest, and he deposits your weapons in there and waits.
So
Oh no,
I guess
now I just have
Johanna
magic.
would probably give hers up to. She has her her heavy crossbow and then her sword. Does she have the hammer too? Dang, she got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had the hammer and the sword
And the sword
heavy
and the
crossbow.
crossbow.
I don't know if she had anything else.
No. Would they take her shield too, or is that more of like a defensive? She just has it
You
like
could keep
on
the
her.
shield. Oh, it's the weapons that they're worried about.
Anything is a weapon if you're creative enough.
Okay, so they take
Yeah.
your weapons.
Yeah, and she at this
I
point.
hand over my dagger.
Okay. And your staff, sir?
You wouldn't deny.
His walking stick, Gandalf.
You seem plenty sprightly to me.
You also don't look like a
I
man.
immediately
Got him.
bend a knee with a limp. Very well, and I hand over my quarterstaff.
Okay. Is anyone not giving their weapons over?
I will hand over my spear and my rapier and my quick bow, and while I'm kind of like doing that, I will try to sleight of hand my dagger like inside a cloak pocket.
Look over there.
Okay,
No.
roll a sleight of hand check.
Oh, mama. No whammies. That's a 12.
Okay.
Roll.
So you feel like you did a really good job. And as they take the weapons, the guard says,
So smooth.
And I take out the gum that I was chewing and I
"Charming." And the dagger?
hand it over.
Dagger, I hardly know it.
Just gumshoe. Just once you ask for her gum back.
Yeah, he kind of throws it on the
Nice
ground.
tip, thanks a lot.
And
Oh, tip. I thought you said something
they
else.
deposit the weapons into the chest, and Miranda says, "This chest will be kept close to where you will be standing. It won't be in the same room, but it will be just beyond the door. I will point it out to you so that you know where your equipment lies, should the need arise."
Will it be locked?
The
chest.
No.
Okay.
So,
they javelin and quarterstaff.
is that
just so
all
you know.
Rogar has?
Well, I have a shield.
He also has a club, but
But-
he keeps that in his pants.
You can keep shields.
Yeah.
I'll be right behind you too.
And Zalissa, I'm assuming.
I'm with everybody.
I'm
Okay.
proficient in
All right.
improvised weapons.
So you hand over.
Give me a table
I just
leg
need my
or a
book.
regular leg.
You hand over your weapons, and she escorts you to chambers that have been set aside for you all as honored guests.
A fluffy bed.
Is there anything that you would like to do before you take a night's rest?
I'm gonna
Eat.
Miranda.
Ooh.
Is there anything you would like to do that there's a chance of?
Miranda.
Miranda.
Pedros he's hot in that sort of like unapproachable asexual way.
You were right with
What?
one of those words.
Is there like a meal or dinner or anything with?
Yeah,
Food.
It's
Here's
kind
your
of late.
slot.
It's kind of late now. You can either go to the dining hall or she can have food sent up to the room, whatever you would prefer.
Okay.
Do we have individual rooms?
Just like in the inn, however many rooms you had at the inn, there's that many rooms that are available to you all.
Together in the inn.
Yeah, I thought
I was with.
I think it
George
was
over
like
2 or 3 rooms or something.
Yeah, I think it was two
I
to
think-
a room.
Yeah, I think it was 3 rooms total.
Mm-hmm.
Pedros and
Pretty sure
Johanna,
more
I think there are
rooms.
1,
Yeah.
Probably.
2.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess her priority
Change out
would
one of
be
my spells.
rest, eat, fix up any patches in her clothes or armor, go to bed.
and carve a shiv out of whatever wood you can find.
Break out a piece of the bed frame.
Cat
I think I
bar.
would like to talk to Miranda if there's
Yeah.
a way that I could bring
Well,
that
and-
up in conversation, or if I.
Well, Miranda's going to take time and talk with each of you about whatever you may have seen. She's going to just be trying to get as much information out of you guys so she knows as much of the story as possible.
Is
If there's anything in particular you wanted to ask her, or anything in particular you want to make sure that was said to her, whatever you want to say.
Pine Spire Keep stuff from what's his name,
From who?
the
From
prisoner. I tell her everything that
base.
the prisoner
Okay.
told us.
Okay, so you catch her up on.
I catch
everything.
her up on what the prisoner said about Pine Spire Keep.
Yeah, and that tracks with what you guys know already.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else anyone?
I can't remember if I've told her about Grim before.
I feel like you.
I feel like maybe a little bit at the end, maybe.
Yeah, you did. You did when you guys got back from Pine Spire Keep. I think you shared
Okay.
some.
So I would catch her up on the fact that we ran into him, that he teleported away, and that with my Hunter's Mark spell, I could tell he was close by and that his business was not finished, and that if at all possible to get us access to weapons. Like, these peace talks are not going to go well. That's what I'm getting at. Like,
No. Okay. And she takes it all in. And she
And
says,
he uses the undead, by the way, in case you didn't know that.
"Yes, I remember after you returned from Pine Spire, you told me about the extensive use of undead there. So, I mean, at this point, the peace talks are tomorrow.
Does this place have a crypt? Like, maybe we should, like, cordon that off a little bit. I don't want a
I can-
Game of Thrones.
I was
Yeah,
just
let's
thinking
hide
that.
people down there.
I can post some extra guards outside of the entrance to the crypts. We don't have a crypt directly on the castle grounds, but there is in the city nearby. There are some crypts, and we will increase the guard there.
What about Bloods?
We ran them out of town ages ago.
MS-13. Hell's Angels.
Okay, so I will say
The Hobnobbers.
we are not going to have enough time for the actual peace talks, but
So screw it.
To
Let's just
give-
go to war.
to give you guys an idea,
Yeah.
so you can strategize.
Is Miranda going to tell us, like, what the plan is for tomorrow? Like, I would assume that she would tell us where the talks are taking place and how many people are going to be there and that kind of thing. What are you laughing at?
Employee of the month, February 2021 out of the movie.
Oh.
That was one of Adam's Father's Day gifts.
Oh.
It's cute.
Oh, baby!
Oh, it looks so good!
Come on, eat up
Wow.
your butt.
Wow.
Oh my god. The steps are just
Yeah, and the carpet.
so sexy. Whoever helped you pick out the best selections for those tiles really did a great job.
I think whoever had a dignified
Okay,
silence
let's-
throughout most of the conversation was the real hero.
Clearly.
So
Thank you. Finally got some
let's.
The roof is coming off.
So there is. Can you put that on the cross of right in the center? The cross of the tiles.
Oh, I see where the
The
tiles
intersection
come
of those
together.
4 tiles.
Yeah.
So that's a statue. The statue that I mentioned before, that it looks like the sword it's holding is an actual sword.
Ah.
And then
Somebody's gonna have to grab that.
we have a throne sitting on the carpet in front of it, as well as 2 smaller chairs that sit to either side, slightly behind it.
I love it.
Boy, those are some cool minis. Whoever supplied those must love you.
And then
one.
Shut up.
Oh no.
I stole his credit.
Oh, no.
His
Yeah,
credit
we
like
might
a
need to-
booty.
Yeah.
Basically,
We're
these
gonna bend
are standing
They're danger brazers. They tilt.
standing brazier.
You never know when they're
Um,
gonna kill you.
And then there's also
Looks
columns
so good.
here, 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 and here, and on the same on the other side. If someone wouldn't mind.
So they tried really hard for the first two, and then they had to move up their deadline, so they just
No, this is just what we have available.
Yes.
trying to add story based on
So basically,
House that she made.
Miranda
Did you hear
explains.
that?
Oh, and there's a balcony up above. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
this is.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, that'll do.
And the
just
balcony is single square wide and double square at the end. And the balcony lines up with. So the single wide are directly above this strip and these strips. This is kind of an antechamber, and these are the front gates.
Yeah.
So you come through here, you enter the grand hall, and then there's doors that go off to different ways.
Yeah.
Where are the stairs to get up to that balcony area? Is it in this
It's
main
not
room?
in this main room.
Okay, you have to go.
good thing someone knows Misty Step.
And there's
Even though I know
about
Misty Step.
20 feet up to that balcony. Like, it's very tall. And
Doors
then
don't swing open. This is a travesty.
Looks great. You should.
And then basically Miranda explains that, you know, the orcs are going to be brought in from the main entrance. King Cyric is going to be in front of his throne while Miranda stands in front of one of the other chairs.
Wasn't there a sister?
She will not be attending.
That's
Damn,
right.
she was the hot one.
You've
Sus.
never actually seen her.
Sus.
She has to be the hot one.
And